Petro, a.k.a. Mr. Boom Shakalaka. And now, Rick Sans and SergAndDestroy from Super Design Land. Boom Shakalaka.
So we're back.
Yep.
And that's it. We're out. See you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. we had what would have been last week then?
Cleveland Bazaar.
Yeah, we had the Cleveland Bazaar was last week. This is a time jump. So
Time travel.
yeah. So yeah, last week we had Cleveland Bazaar. It's one of the outdoor events. Actually, a lot of people came because it was a holiday weekend.
Air show.
Yeah. So we have the Blue Angels and all that, flying around town, big fighter pilots, stuff like that, and good crowd all weekend because you have a lot of people in town for various reasons. So it's always a good event, or it has been at least already at that spot. So that's why we encourage people, you have places in your towns that you can push your art. You just got to find them, and then sometimes it takes you to test it out. Sometimes it's a big fail, or it's it's not as good as something else, and now but that's how you line up multiple events every month, or at least something that's consistent every year that hey, this is a good one we did last year. Then it also gets you locals, because a lot of times locals don't know about things going on until they're there,
Until it affects them, or they have some extra vested interest in going because of a significant other, or romantic interest or something, or a buddy's doing it and they just have nothing to do, or they're like, oh, someone needs my help, loading stuff in or something.
Yeah.
And then that's one of those things too. This particular one is across the street from Westside Market here in Cleveland, which for people who aren't from Cleveland, it's like a traditional butcher deli kind of marketplace.
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain had said that it's the only place like it left. Anyway, you have that going on, and people from Cleveland will always take people not from Cleveland there. And it's close to downtown, so if people are going to Rock Hall, Science Center,
stadiums,
yeah,
etc.,
theater and all that, it's within walking distance, even though I'm probably not walking all the way from downtown to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the first event that I feel like we've done in Cleveland that has that many tourists. And this was the third time we did it this summer. They have it every other weekend. And I think that was the thing that caught me off guard, was I wasn't expecting so many people from Nashville, Kentucky,
Chicago,
Florida.
Yeah.
That were, I guess we haven't had a show in Cleveland that there was that many people needing to figure out if our art would travel safe in a suitcase. And then with it being all these people that were locals, it's in an area that's highly trafficked by people on bikes. So it is a situation where we absolutely had to have bags for certain people. So then we're running to the cars and having to, look for that extra plastic bag for emergencies, or got stuffed under the seat.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting problem to have. Because usually when you run out of bags, people are like, oh, it's okay, my car's over there. But this is one of those exceptions.
Yeah, it's usually outdoor events. People will carry it, so it also helps in the marketing aspect of other people. Hey, where'd you get that thing? But yeah, that was a surprise. At least we know for that spot. But usually with the cons, people bring their own bags. They have backpacks and such. So usually when they're picking up stuff, they can just put things in that way. But the records, are more fragile, so you can't just throw it in a backpack. And it's probably broken, by the time you get home. So
or scratched by
whatever else is in there.
Yeah, your gun or hatchet that's just sitting in your book bag.
So
I'm just kidding.
That's always it's a good event.
Well, besides
Traffic's fun.
Old Guys Rule Guy.
Yeah. You get your fun attendees, let's say.
So you're gonna say your fun nuts. In this instance, there was a man, and I some time has passed since we're going over this, and we had another event, and I told so many people yesterday about this guy. But there's people out there that seem to, even though we've been painting on records for 15, 16 years, painted over 60,000 of them, that it's their first time coming across us, and they just flip out. And then in this particular instance, you had an older guy, probably like 60s, browsing about this thing, and he goes and looks at our anime bin and pulls something out, and we got 3 guys, younger dudes, just looking at stuff while in there, and the guy goes, you ruined a good polka record. And I look at him, and I didn't have anything witty to really come back. I just was like, I don't care. And this is one of those events too. We need to be there at like 7 in the morning to get like good parking, and because it's one of those things you're just stuck parking on the street, and if you don't find parking on the street, even paid parking is kind of far away, and we want to be able to like walk or dolly the stuff to our cars. You're there to make money when it comes down to it. Okay, you make your art for your expression and all that, but you're doing an event like that to sell it to people, to make connections with other creative people, to open up creative opportunities with people wandering around that can facilitate them. Right. But you're not paying, and that's the thing, you're paying to be there. You're paying for your spot as well as all these other people. You're not paying to be harassed by someone that, for whatever reason, people in the world now think they're entitled to tell you their opinion. And, I don't know if it's like the online's bleeding into the real world and people aren't used to either being called out in person, but this dude might have been having a bad day, but I definitely was not giving him any more time. It's another thing too for people that wind up in these positions. There's a lot of times where someone might misunderstand your art or be triggered by it. And in explaining where you're coming from and what your inspirations are, not only do you win them over, but you get a sale out of it.
Right.
This guy, it was clear, it just wasn't going to happen. So there was no point in even having the conversation any further.
Yeah, he was there just to be angry at something. He probably went from booth to booth doing it, but, with us, it was, the wrong booth. Yeah. You told him, you don't care. And then he just kept staring at us, and I said, all right, have a nice day, man.
And then the guys who were shopping our booth noticed that the back of his shirt said "Old Guys Rule," and they all started yelling "Old Guys Rule" at him as he walked away. So that was awesome. You have not only random people see they say it's like audacious or whatever is kind of like an overstatement, but I feel like after dealing with it for so many years, but it's I'm just glad people saw it, and then they actually like said something too, and then then they bought some of our art, which was even more icing on the cake. Right. I was just happy someone else saw it, because these things always seem to happen. I'd say 90% of the time it's when it's like during a lull and you have some person yelling at you over nothing.
Well, there's always one at every event, at least one, but he he was the winner for the summer already. But it didn't stop the people from picking up things, and the guys all got a good laugh out of it that were in there, so they have a story to tell people too, and it's all good. It's not gonna stop us from doing what we do.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Like that's cool, but like that's your opinion, and take it somewhere else.
Oh yeah, it didn't ruin our day. Yeah. I'm just more amazed at one, that it happened, and two, that the GoPro died like 10 minutes before it happened.
Yeah, that would have been clutch to catch.
Been trying to get time lapses of the different events.
Yeah, it's cool to get those, and we can stitch them together, and that'll be fun. But yeah, when we can't catch those things, it's a good story. But to have the visual aspect of like, no, this is what happened,
or at least a still.
Yeah,
because the guy looked like he was squaring up with me, and where I'm like, I mean, if you're gonna fight me, I'll just let you hit me, and I can take your retirement. I mean, I'm not really trying to get an assault charge over someone having a bad day and trying to make my day worse.
Right. Yeah.
He
was definitely going. He was there to goat somebody, but whatever, not us. We just.
That's one of those things too, to people, that you're just gonna find people that you rub the wrong way. I was gonna say rub you the wrong way, but that always happens if you know how to just not worry about it.
Yeah.
But you're not always, but you're at some point from time to time, you're gonna find people who are rubbed the wrong way, and your best move is to try to just navigate the situation to just get past it as quick as possible, and not really fret over you being disrespected and dragging the conversation out, like, more than it needs to be. As much as everyone, has like the daydreams in their head where they beat up all the bad people in the world.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, and with the scene, doing art, it's all, subjective and objective anyway. So like, you kind of just find the positive aspect of it, thank people for taking the 2 minutes to look at it, even if it's a quick walk by.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing, that whole, kindness thing. Hey man, thanks for, stopping in. Sometimes the people will come back, especially like, that's the one thing you have to learn. If it's early in an event, people usually make their rounds. They're going to go there, see everything. Some people go in and just buy stuff, and that's just what they do. But like, a lot of people will be like, oh, hey, we're going to take a look around, we'll be back. And usually, at least with what we do, the people come back. Like, it's, once you see everything else, ours definitely sticks out from a lot of stuff. Like, you'll have like 4 t-shirt vendors, and they're kind of similar designs. If you're getting a t-shirt from one, you're probably not going to each of them getting something similar, so like, ours is always something different, that usually people will make their rounds back. But like, we do limited, some certain things are limited, so if you see them, we tell you like, you should probably grab that now.
There's only one
or
two, or
that's
something.
The popular thing we've been selling out the past couple weekends, and usually, people will listen and just get it, because it will be gone. Like, we've had people come back an hour later like, oh, hey man, I set those 3 that I wanted in the back of the bin. And you're like, yeah, but people look at all of them like they're eventually going to get to those 3. Like, it's one of those things, unless somebody's trying to drop, like multiple pieces, will we really hold on to it, but like, usually I'll do that for people that like have bought from us before, and like, oh, hey, I already got 12 of these at my house, we want to furnish another room with them. Then we'll make our allowances, but like, usually it's just a free for all kind of. If you're there, first person to grab it. And we've seen people like, oh man, I wanted that one on the wall. It's like, well, you should have asked, because I just, that person said, hey, can you get that off the wall? And I'll just grab it. The first person to say it, I'm giving it to them.
Can't
like,
magically materialize another piece.
Yeah, like, if you want to pay, like, unless it's like, hey, if you want to pay me $30 for that, whatever. Yeah. But like it's, first come, first serve, and it's with us. That's why we make so many of them. Like, okay, well, they picked up the one that's in purple, but there's like 6 other variations there of the same design. You know, if you were really shooting for purple, then, you know, unfortunately that one's gone. But we have other ones you can grab or something that can match, you know, if you're trying to match the record to something else they have. Well, we'll probably find something that's complementary to it at least.
You have these people that just want what they can't have. And so we dealt with this for people that don't know. Maybe the people that do know will remind you. We used to have a clothing line, and it was on MTV and Red Bull and Nintendo commercials and stuff.
Yeah, we had a good number of things, bunch of different fashion weeks. And
oh, yeah.
We had fashion shows in like Florida and stuff that we were able to fly out to because it was wearable art.
Miami, and then we did, and then sponsored a thing for the Absolute Party at Sundance Film Festival, and
we had stuff, and we did some designs for the one like zombie apocalypse type movie where you did all the patches.
Oh yeah, the Patrick guy from Boondock Saints. Yeah. That's not the actor that plays Daryl in Walking Dead. I'm forgetting his name, but we had done patches and T-shirts for part of a lot of it was, since it was like sci-fi and spaceships and stuff, they had like shoulder patches that were all part of this one crew. And that particular actor was wearing that. But the point being, though, we used to do T-shirts at a lot of these fairs with our art, and you would always have people being like, oh, you know, if it was, you know, most shirts are on black because black shirts are the most popular. Mm-hmm. And dark colors look good on pretty much everybody. Right. So that's that. But people would be like, oh, I would get that, but, you know, or if that was a red shirt, I would get that. Where it's like, well, we're not, you know, a company with a bunch of financial backing. Yeah. It was just us, you know, doing that in our spare time. And then, I mean, we see this now where people will hear all the time, oh, you should do, you know, like a design from whatever. And then you finally do it. And then, like, it just sits around. And it's like, well, you just wanted to justify, like, something. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, that's why, like, we stopped taking, like, unless it's like a commission-based thing, usually, you know, it doesn't get done. Like, you know, I could take it into, okay, well, cool, put it on the list. But, like, if there's no real value to it, it's just not going to get done because, you know, you're just putting out, if it's something popular, you're going to put it out into a world where now everyone has that. But you know, but if Hot Topic has it, why would we need to do it? You know, because that's going to be the place everyone's going to go get it, you know? So
and those saturation.
Yeah. Like we can't keep up with that, like you said, but like, that's why we did like limited shirts and things like that. So like, if you had it, you were the only person that had it. So we kind of played towards, you know, that aspect, which people liked them. And that's why we had some local stores have them for those purposes. Cause they were different from like anyone else's just single colored screen print. We had like, you know, bleach outs, we had like different like multi stencil looking prints and things like that like none of your friends are going to have that if you go buy the one off. You know, if your friend wants it, they're not going to be able to get it because you have the one. But it, you know, you can't please everyone. But yeah, it would be the thing of, oh, I'd like that. Or, you know, if you guys had an extra large, it's like, well, we sold all the extra larges, you know. And it's like, we can't just, we're not like print on demand. We're like, now everything's print on demand.
Right.
Unless you're known for being like a big print shop, you know. So, you know, I don't know. It was a learning. It was fun while we did it, but it's not where we wanted our art to go. You know, it was cool because we were able to just take that style of designs. Now we put them on the records. You know, we were able to translate that digitally into like stickers and, you know, other things along the way that just seem more feasible to do. We put some into prints where we actually screen print on paper. So then people were hanging those as prints in their house. So it went from, okay, well, now we have to buy all these expensive T-shirts and have to sell them at a higher price to make either even or some sort of money on them. You can just buy a pack of, nice paper and screen print all over them, and now you have 50 prints. You can keep the pricing low and get it out to 50 people as opposed to like 10 people on t-shirts. So,
and a thought occurred to me too. We were telling someone yesterday about how when we decided we were done with the t-shirts, and then I was also done with just having like the last maybe 50 hanging up in a random basement somewhere. We're like, hey, let's just blow them out. It'll be fun. We'll just do it for $1. I'm not trying to have, a couple $100 in singles, but let's just do it for fun. And our dude Will, shout out to Will.
What's up, Will? You'll see him soon.
Yeah,
we got something special for that one.
He came out, and he was amazed because people were still complaining about $1 t-shirts, and these t-shirts still cost us in 2010 or whatever. I think it was still $350, $450, $550 a t-shirt. We weren't buying big quantities. We'd buy like 25 or whatever the minimum.
Yeah, and then you'd, overall you tack in the cost of the screen printing to build the kit.
Oh, burn the screen.
Burn the screen. So like by the end, overall per design, you'd be in the whole like easy $20 plus overall. Like, because if you could stretch the emulsion, but like you're like $35 in if you're doing on a design before you could even touch the t-shirts and their cost. And then if you wanted to do different colors, now you're paying for the paints. Like it's something that like easy people can just say, oh, why don't you just make it in this? It's like, but like if the screen print or the screen itself doesn't print or burn correctly, now you're buying more emulsion, so like, and then it's or what you have to eat it away to then redo it, like, so there's a emulsion remover, the remover. So there's a lot of different things, and then now you're playing with time because things have to be fully dry, and we were building our own frames. There's a lot of stuff that went into it that like now it's like 2 days later before you can even try to screen print again. And like, it doesn't matter because that's the whole care of demand. If people want it, they want it. They don't care the in-between. They just want the thing, but they don't see that, like, that's with the toys too. At least like you can tease a little bit, but you can give yourself space. We're like, now we know that it's a learning, it's a learning process that like, okay, well now I know I can have one toy and test, someone where it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to put this little 3-inch out there, show a picture of it, and watch the feedback happen. If I get enough feedback, okay, cool, then I'll make a run of it.
Right.
Or it's just going to be a one-off. Or it's cool, it looks like that, but I'll just do 6 one-off colors, and now you got a rainbow and that's it, and you're done with it. Where the t-shirts, if you wear it, if somebody sees that they want it, that's cool. But then like we don't have a store. We would pop up just like you said, like at our events. So then, oh well, we got to wait till next month, because that's when we'll be at, so there's a little play, but it's a learning process. It's a good thing if you want to just make your own shirts. There's plenty of things online. You can go do that, teach yourself, and go for it. Because that's kind of what we did. We just jumped into options. It. We just jumped into it. Go to Michael's, pick up a couple t-shirts, see what happens. If you want to tie-dye stuff, we did that too. We did our own like tie-dye.
Tie-dye before it was a thing.
Yep. Like we in that lapse, we made our own colors and made our own designs and things like that. And now, of course, after we do it,
we did tie-dye in 2005.
Yeah. So then, and then it's like, oh, now everyone's getting back into it, getting, Wu-Tang on a tie-dye shirt screen printed. And it's like, nobody would ever thought of that back in the day. But that's the stuff we were doing in like Cleveland Fashion Week and such. So, like we said, if you're going to do it, go out and do it. But there's a lot of stuff to, that are behind the scenes that like, if you go to support an artist, just know that like, not everyone has an easy process of getting that thing to you. Like more than not, that person has gone through hell to either get that thing perfectly painted, or if they're a resin caster, there's a process if they don't get a nice resin pull off the first time. The cleanup sometimes is unbearable to get you this nice, pristine piece. So, that's, if you're going to go out and, support people, just know that, hey, that price might be a certain price for a certain reason. It's not just like their machine factory putting them out.
Well, and, a lot of people with arts being artsy, there's a lot of people that have it easy. They're privileged to the point that they're not struggling to get through their day to day, and they get to just do art. That's just their thing, which I'm not hating on them, but I would say like your average artist is either holding down another job or they're dealing with some other struggles that, you know, deteriorate like their amount of time and their like general being to express themselves. Where there's so many times where I'm like, how does that person, like, their art's cool, but where I'm like, how do they own a house in this particular neighborhood? And then you find out like, oh, they're from the rich suburbs, where it's like, oh, so someone hooked them up. They don't have to worry about their day to day, because they're like, do these people seriously like retire at 25? And you know, the vast majority of people doing art are just average people doing average jobs to pay their bills. And you know, obviously everyone wants to be a full-time artist or a full-time musician, but you know, for a lot of people the path to that takes a lot longer.
Right.
And so, you know, each artist has their own personal struggle to get wherever they're ultimately going to reach. We've seen a lot of people did it, especially in the designer toy scene, that have, you know, that star burned bright for a second, and then they realize it's a lot more work than they thought. And they were nice at first, then they got some followers and got cocky, and then now don't know what happened to them. Which,
yeah,
you know, also, you know, people's interests change.
Right.
And then people's situations change. So some people just revert to what's going to make them the most money. So instead of doing art, maybe they got into like real estate, or maybe they're like hot dog vendor outside the stadium, that could provide them more consistent side hustle money. Right. But you can only be so expressive decorating a hot dog. So you know that creative itch is still there. But
so, well, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, that tends to be like, you know, a good common denominator. So that's why when you go to cons, usually that's a, you know, a thing you can already have a baseline with other artists, you know, and, you know, that's just a kind of thing that should like tie people together. And once you actually start finding those people, usually, you know, you it's easy to collaborate with and other things like that. So like just those like normal things outside of just art, you know, allow you to relate. And then, oh, well, we have this in common too. We have this in common too. Oh, right. Hey, and then, you know, you can figure out mesh of styles, or if, you know, there is something that you can have between the two of you.
Oh, you like decorating hot dogs? I like decorating hot dogs.
Yeah. You know, so like that's, I mean, it comes with the territory, you know, so that's like why we kind of wanted to start doing this, because like a lot of times you don't get the artist perspective, you know. Like I recently had somebody tell me like, hey, I'm glad that you started doing your behind the scenes, you know, because I would just show my finished product, but that was just, you know, however timing or whatever. So I didn't really start filming things until I got the feedback. I was like, oh, people want to see this, or oh, hey, they want to see the step, like they want the toy, but they like seeing the process of, oh, that's how he made it, or oh, that's a cool idea behind the thing, or seeing the original rough sketch and then see the sketch turn into the toy, you know, even just a quick time lapse of that, like, you know, for somebody that's not making it but is a collector, now they have something to kind of also relate to. So that's why we're not only bringing on just like toy designers, things like that. There's other creative outlets, or just other people not even being creative that do other stuff that, you know, we just want to kind of give exposure to and
have interesting things to say and share. Yeah,
because everyone has a different path to whatever they're doing. But like, if somebody's, you know, just wanted to own a little coffee shop, but it's like, you know, just what they wanted, they may have something to bring, you know, to you guys watching that'll say like, oh, hey, you know what, that thing they said, I can relate to that. And you know what, maybe they grinded to get there. That's a cool story. maybe they had an easy path. That's a cool story. But usually, like, it's inside their drive and, you know, their mindset behind it, which is, you know, the kind of stuff that, you know, we're trying to bring, so that, you know, there's different outcomes and different mindsets that, like, hey, you know what, I would never thought of that. Or, you know, maybe it's somebody you thought you maybe not relate to, but by the time they're done talking, you'd be like, oh, hey, you know what, maybe I will follow them, because it's just something that, like, as a person, they're awesome. And then what they do is awesome because they're an awesome person. You know, and that's, you know, sometimes a lot of that gets cut out, you know, with, you know, 5-second videos and things like that you know, are just trying to keep people you know, entertained. But, like, that's only 5 seconds you have of that person's time. You have to then make 20 other 5-second videos, you know, to keep them engaged all day, you know. And we're just trying to bring a little bit more content behind that 5-second video.
Well, and like I've said to a lot of people too, like, a lot of these conversations we just have all the time. And I was like, you know, I think in general, this information would at least be interesting, if not valuable, to some people.
Right.
So that's why I was like, you know, we should do this. And then after a year of planning, we started doing this. And then, you know, we refine it as we go.
Yeah.
It's all learning process, just like learning to screen print, just like doing a t-shirt business.
Yeah, like, yeah. We've had those, you know, jump into something and then, like, okay, well, this went certain thing. Okay, well, where do you want to go now? Or how can we progress on this? And, you know, this is where we got to. So, like, now we're like, okay, what camera angle, what content can we bring? So, you know, as, you know, hopefully as everything goes, you guys are getting more engaged, and, like, you have the area to comment down there. Please comment. You know, follow us on our social medias if you have, you know, engagement of, like, oh, hey, you know what, I went to this event and there's this artist there that does this.
Yeah, let us know.
That you can hit us up, because it may be somebody that we bring on here, and then you get to see more behind that person. You know, something like that. So, like, please, you know, engage with us, you know, like, follow and like, because, you know, if we don't get feedback, we're going to do what we think is awesome, which, you know, that's kind of what we do anyways. We just hope that what we do, you know, somebody can relate to, and like, gets out to people. Yeah, like, hey, you know what, I go by and I'm like, hey, oh, you know, I like that character or whatever, but, like, that's the face value part, which is cool. But, like, come over here, I'll tell you about the character,
right?
You know, and then that's like with our guest that we're gonna have on today, which is our feature. Like, this is someone who's, like, not only is an awesome person, but it's what's behind their art. What they put into it, like, in their personal life, and then also just, like, how hyped they are behind pretty much everything he does. Like, everything he gets into, it's like 90 level. Even if behind the scenes he's not feeling that way, he's not going to show you that on certain things, because it's how much heart behind his actual projects and his designs he has. He's going to hit you with, hey, I want to show you why you should be pumped about this, and how you can relate to it. And then, you know, hopefully you'll find a reason to get this thing in your life.
And then if you, as a creative person, he will also motivate you, always have, like, helpful suggestions on how you could do things better. Not in, like, a critical way, but in a way that, like, he'll get you excited about yourself. And that's, like, incredibly rare to have someone that's just so supportive of other people. Like, there's a lot of people that don't care about the community and just see everyone else as stepping stones. Like, if there isn't something that they can use you for, or that you aren't some benefit to them, they don't really care about you. And then this guy's the opposite. This dude he's one of those people that he wants the best for you. He doesn't care if it benefits him or not. Like, he genuinely just wants the best for everyone. And
Thanks.
It's inspirational. And we're fortunate that not only is he someone we've collaborated with, going to collaborate with in the future, but he's someone that we consider a friend and a brother.
Right.
So
this is our first official guest, and it's probably going to be over multiple parts, so you don't have to watch it in one sitting. But this is Playful Gorilla This is Alex. This is one of our friends. He's a super creative person, super positive, and we're going to bring him in for you guys now.
Here we go.
So everyone, this is Playful Gorilla. We are super pumped to have him here, and tell us where you're from. Tell us who you are. Get this started.
All right, what's up, everybody? Yo, first of all, thank you. This is gonna be fun.